Hello and welcome to an all-new episode of Press YYZ, the only Canadian gaming podcast you can catch live on Twitch every Wednesday at 8 p.m. Eastern, hosted by these four fine gentlemen most of the time, and other people sometimes on occasion as well, for things and on podcast services and YouTube every Thursday. I'm Mitch, joined as always by the French connection Alex Kazina.
Hey.
That's about all Cozy's going to say on today's episode, because it's going to be all about Halo, and he hasn't played it yet, but we'll give him his moment to talk about whatever else has been going on. But also joining me are the Halo boys, Mr. Nathan McInerney and AJ Fraser.
Woo, Halo! I'm glad that I've been a long-term fan of this series, and everything makes sense now.
What wonders can you teach us that we may have missed along our journey so far? I can't wait to hear it.
I don't know if you're aware of this, but we finally learned Master Chief's middle name.
Oh, shit. Go figure.
Isn't it?
Yeah, it's Master Fred Chief.
Oh, Fred. Okay, yeah.
Oh, so Fred, like his blue team partner from Halo 5.
Yes.
Before we get started, in earnest, as always, Press YYZ stands
Sony.
against any discrimination of any kind. While we appreciate however you choose to give back to our show, there's no better way than being excellent to one another. A bit of housekeeping for you. Tomorrow, Thursday, December the 9th, here at 8 p.m. Eastern, you can catch us live reacting and co-streaming the Game Awards, where there will be announcements and someone will win and the others won't care. And Cozy is looking to do his cooking stream that was promised as part of Extra Life at some point this month.
Yes,
which means
that's right.
We'll get narrowed down to sometime in the next 3 weeks within the next.
If you have any ideas or suggestions of what I should do, by all means, hit me up on Twitter, hit up the Press YYZ account on Twitter, slide into our Discord, and let me know. We've already been discussing it amongst ourselves. We have some good ideas, but we want to hear from you if you have an exceptionally exceptional idea that you want to impart to us.
Yeah. And with the holidays upon us, we didn't really take that into account when saying we do a second Extra Life stream in December. So that will be happening sometime in the new year, probably January. Maybe a Dirty 30 stream for Mitch's birthday. I don't know. We'll see.
I think maybe it could be timed with our 2-year anniversary as well. So
yeah, that's like
a
couple of weeks before my birthday.
We'll
figure it out, but we'll
great.
let you know closer to the date when we're going to do that. And
I will say
probably be 12 hours of Halo.
I looked up what games are coming out in January of next year, and unfortunately, there aren't really any major releases of consequence that we would care about.
Maybe.
But
Excuse me.
what?
Maybe it's time to get back to Cyberpunk.
Or maybe it's time to play the 2022 Game of the Year, Pokemon Legends Arceus,
Which is
coming out January 28th.
probably going to be really good, but that's like way at the end of the month.
Yeah, I know. I'm taking the day off. That's 2 days before my birthday.
Is it
Great.
multiplayer?
They have said there is multiplayer, but it's probably just trading and battling, I think.
Oh.
Nothing more than that. It is a single-player adventure, like every Pokemon game it's been. But we are not here to talk about Pokemon, which is hard for me to say because it's been like 3 weeks since the last game, and I haven't talked about it yet. Today, everyone has said, oh, we have to talk about the Halo thing, and I don't want to talk about the Halo thing because I want to go play the Halo thing. So before we spend too long talking about the Halo thing, Cozy, you've got other stuff you've been playing because you haven't been playing the Halo thing.
I mean, I technically have been playing the Halo thing. I've been playing...
You've been playing the old Halo things.
Yes, I've been playing Halo 5, Guardians. The only Halo game with a subtitle next to it aside from Halo Combat Evolved. And I guess Halo 3 ODST if we want to get technical. Yeah, this game is interesting. On the previous podcast, I talked about how with Halo 4, I appreciated all of the little ways in which the game was clearly influenced by Star Trek 2009. This game, Halo 5, feels like it was influenced by the posters for Batman versus Superman and not in an interesting way. I'm interested in seeing it through to the end. Gameplay-wise, it is still pretty polished, although it feels less like a Halo game and more like if Platinum Games had to create like an impressionistic painting rendition of a Halo game.
There is something regarding Halo 5 that was actually really good, and that was a podcast they released before it came out called Hunt the Truth.
Yeah.
And the first season of that was actually really good and really well done. And then the second season that they attempted to do of that felt like the 8th season of Game of Thrones in terms of quality, and rushed to try and get it out before the game came. That part was not good, but that first season was actually really, really good and really interesting. If you're interested in podcasts on your commute or something like that,
I'll definitely consider checking that out. I've already committed to checking out the Halo Legends anime vignettes and some of the Halo movies at some point. And like, as you know, I love podcasts, so that actually genuinely will probably be something I'll check out at some point. I could have went through. Oh, there it is. Halo.
Forward Unto Dawn.
Oh, I was about to say Halo the anime, but then it came into focus and it was not Halo the anime.
Forward Unto Dawn is a very good movie.
I decided last night, rather than spend the rest of my Tuesday evening whittling away at Halo 5, that I'd check out another game that people have been talking about as of recent. While it didn't receive a nomination for Game of the Year, it did receive 3 other nominations from the Game Awards in 3 other categories. It's a little walking simulator / musical sci-fi opera by the name of The Artful Escape. And let me tell you, this game is out there. This is one of those experiences that as you're playing it, you're like, man, I really, really wish that Quebec had better weed than the weed that we currently have. We have like if you go on the what is it, the Société Cannabis Québécois. Well, I forget what the website's called. If you go on the Quebec Cannabis website, like the only edibles that we have are like powder that you can put in like your tea, for example. It really sucks. I mean, of course, they also have, stuff that you can smoke and all that, but I'm not much of a smoker. This game was a lot of fun. As you can see right now, I am in the process of marching through a wondrous and weird alien environment, playing my guitar all the way, causing the world around me to change as my character finds himself and basically crafts his persona that I'll use to play rock to every single creature in the galaxy and universe. It's a game that, like I said, is very much in defiance of any kind of explanation out there. The best thing I can compare it to is it's like if they took the Yellow Submarine animated movie, like the old Beatles animated movie, and took something that was tonally extremely similar to it and turned it into a again, like not super interactive walking simulator of a video game. And I personally had a real good time with it over the course of the 4 to 5-ish hours that I played it. One thing I didn't love about it is that occasionally there are these sections throughout it where you basically play Simon. You have to repeat the notes that are displayed on screen to play songs using your ethereal guitar. It never works out as well as it should because the prompts on screen for what buttons you play are way kind of bunched together, and when you're playing it on your Xbox Elite controller, the actual buttons that you have to press are usually way further out, and I realize it's a little bit hard to explain, but basically those sequences are a little bit more cumbersome than they should have been. But overall, if you got 4 hours to spare, you got one of those Xbox Game Passes, go give this one a shot. It's fun.
Yeah, this is one of those that I've been meaning to play, and I booted it up, but it's gone on that list of things that I want to get to when I've got some time off for the holidays. I know we've talked about whether or not we're going to take a break for the holidays, and I think if we do, this is definitely one of those games that, well, I can carve out a Wednesday night and play through it. Curious, though, if anyone else, before we get into the Halo talk, I know, Cozy, that's kind of what you've been up to outside the Halos, so I apologize. The rest of the episode might not be as inclusive. But what's everyone's plans over the holidays with regards to backlog management? Anyone got any big plans, anything novel or interesting you want to try and get through over the holidays?
I've got one, a white whale, which has been staring me in the face for a little while now. Final Fantasy VII Remake.
Yes, dude.
Ooh.
I've started it twice, and twice it hasn't gripped me. But I need to get through it. I need to get through it. I was not as far in the second time playing it, but when the PS5 copy launched, I just had too much other stuff on the go at the time. So I think the holidays is when I got through Ghost of Tsushima and Persona 5 Royal last year. So I should be able to bust out Final Fantasy.
Anyone interested in playing through Dark Pictures Man of Medan in the next week? Because it leaves Game Pass on the 16th, and I would have liked to have played it before it left.
It's on Game Pass? I didn't even know that.
Maybe that's part of the problem. AJ, Cozy, anything interesting you plan on getting to over the break?
At this point, I'm probably just going to play a lot of Halo. Try and get the daily and weekly challenges once I'm done with the campaign. Try to see if I can get all the hidden collectibles, audio logs, skulls, and everything to find in the campaign. But right now, that's in terms of games. That's really all I can think about.
With me, I'm largely just going to do a lot of cleanup. I didn't platinum Life is Strange True Colors when I beat it a couple of weeks ago, so I'm going to take care of that. And there are a couple of other games that have been kind of kicking around on my hard drives that I'm going to kind of get to and get out of the way. Last time I had my little vacation right before I started my job back in September, I basically spent those 2 weeks or so just going through my hard drive and being like, look at this, Burly Men at Sea. Had this downloaded for 5 years now. I've never played it. Let's knock it off the bucket list. And it's going to be very similar during Christmas.
Fair enough.
How's the platinum for Life is Strange?
As I understand it, it's not too difficult. It's a lot of collectible based things. So it's not like the Telltale games of yore where you would just play through it and you would get the platinum. It's a little bit more involved, but it's not difficult at all.
Okay, cool.
And I don't think you have to play through multiple story paths. You don't have to get a good ending and a bad ending. I think. Don't quote me on that. Yeah, it's not that bad.
Cool. All right.
At least for me, the holidays for me, what I'm hoping to get through, like I mentioned, I want to get through Artful Escape. Just going through the Game Pass stuff I've downloaded because that's the easiest way to know. I booted up One Step from Eden. Are you guys familiar with this game?
That's the Mega Man Battle Network
Yeah, it's a roguelike in the style of Mega Man Battle Network, and I'm so down for that because I love Mega Man Battle Network and roguelikes. So that's one for me. Another being, where is that on here? I still need to finish Arkham Origins for the first time, so that's one that I want to get done as well. It Takes Two, I'd like to play through with the wife at some point, because I hear that is a good way to play that game. And Tell Me Why is another one that's been sitting there for a while that I definitely want to get at over their holidays. But other than that, similar to AJ, a lot of my time is just going to get swallowed up by the thing we're going to talk about for the next who the hell knows how long, and that's Halo Infinite. Today, as of 1 p.m., even though it took an hour for most of us to get it installed, the campaign is here. It is a real game. This game exists, which is great. AJ, you put the most time into it. What are your initial thoughts?
I am absolutely loving it so far. I do have some nervousness with regards to the open world, my ADHD, and distraction. Although it does seem to be strong enough to pull me along on the quote-unquote main path, the main quest. And it's easy enough to just kind of get a couple of the other areas that kind of pop up in the open world on your route to that thing. And you can always come back later into the open world and clean that stuff up after. It's an issue that I had in Skyrim. I've put hundreds of hours into Skyrim, still never finished the main quest. And I feel that need and that drive to just want to go to every little spot and explore everything and then not do that. But I don't know, maybe it's my attachment to the characters in the game, specifically being Chief and Cortana after all of these last 20 years, that kind of is driving me forward more in regards to wanting to complete it. So
And Nathan, I know you didn't get as far as the two of us did into it, but what are your kind of initial impressions of, of the campaign? And then, we've been playing the multiplayer for weeks, so you can kind of, talk about both.
Yeah, so the campaign's interesting. I like the open world. It's given me... It feels like a decently sized open world. I will say, just on my initial exploration, and to be like completely fair, I'm just into the open world. I've done one or two things in it. Unfortunately, wife and kids and family and dinner and stuff got in the way of playing games, believe it or not.
Responsibilities.
I know. So I got to invest a little bit of time into it, but not as much as I'd like. But I will say, it does feel a little empty and barren. And I don't know if that's par for the course with the series, and maybe you guys can let me know.
Oh, so I have one of the thoughts that I a lot of times when I play a new game in a series, and I've kind of thought this way all of my life, is I really want to experience the older game in the series as new again, in the new engine, in the new graphics, and the new I don't know, control, whatever, all the new stuff, right? And so in the original Halo, after you fight your way off of the Pillar of Autumn and you crash land that ship onto the Halo ring for the first time, and you step out, there isn't a lot there because it is just sort of open wilderness. And it is very reminiscent of that feeling when I first did that for the first time 20 years ago.
I do want to interject quickly and say, to what AJ is saying, I did feel somewhat similarly about the original Halo Combat Evolved as well. And I remember at the time scrumming through video walkthroughs of some of the levels I had just played, just to see, how more experienced Halo pros played through some of these levels. And I was always surprised by all the little nooks and crannies and secrets that they would discover, gun caches that are kind of a little bit off the beaten path. And I kind of walked away from it being like, okay, the games are not like as dense as like what you would expect from a first-person shooter today, but clearly Bungie had a real reverence for making sure that each level was sufficiently kind of packed with secrets and cool stuff to find. And kind of tying together all three of our discussions thus far, like, would you say, AJ, having played Halo Infinite the most, that is true of Infinite's world?
To me, okay, so let's see if I can describe it even still that little bit better. The open world of Infinite is like they looked at the original Halo, the original Halo level that I just described, and then also the Silent Cartographer, and just said, hey, let's stretch this into a bigger environment, section it off via story beats and what have you, and that is the open world. Can you remind me what your question was again? Because I sort of lost the thread there.
I guess, like, does it feel barren? Because it feels a bit barren. I think that's where I was going there.
Okay, so you playing as the Master Chief.
Master Fred Chief.
Yep, Master Fred Chief. John Fred Chief. Are kind of alone the whole time, regardless, in every game except Halo 5 Guardians. And there is a solitary feeling to it, but not in a way that it is suffocating, but it remains breathtaking.
Okay.
Does that make sense? It's not...
Yeah. Like, this is reminding me very much in the way, at least based on what I'm seeing, of an Ubisoft game.
People have been comparing it to Far Cry.
Yeah, like my comparison points would be like I haven't played the Far Cry's in forevers, but like an Assassin's Creed or a Watch Dogs, in terms of finding the points and going after the points. And I think that will be enough to keep me going because I do enjoy that gameplay loop. Even when you look at all the spots that were on the map in Forza 5, I've 3-starred every single thing you can do in that game.
I think the difference there versus here, though, is it'll be interesting to see as we explore more of this world and unlock more of these points if traversal becomes a concern. Because I mean, early in this open world bit, I had some reservations, and then I started using the grappling hook like Spider-Man, and it was fucking amazing.
So there's. Go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say I've been using the grapple hook a lot, even during combat.
Yes,
and pulling myself to enemies or using it to stop the shield guys because those guys suck.
Yeah, they do.
Oh yeah, the jackals are a pain in the ass. You're supposed to shoot them between the little crevice and hit their hand, then they drop, kind of like open up a little bit, and then you can headshot them. But it seems a little less effective in this one for some reason. The grappling hook itself is really, it feels really good. You feel like Spider-Man to an extent. It's no secret there are some like boss fight like sequences in which it is absolutely clutch to be. You have to use it or else you're just. I'm playing on normal, and some of the boss battles felt like either historic, heroic, or legendary normal encounters. So, take it with a grain of salt there. The hesitancy I do have with regards to the open world is, so I've also never, like, as much as I love it, I never finished Breath of the Wild either.
Okay, yep.
Because, I explored the world and I got distracted easily that way. However, there is a lot to the world of Breath of the Wild that you can actually miss. And it's a lot of really, really interesting, either whether it be lore or just a nice visual art piece in the world that you can miss because all you end up doing is climbing to the highest rock and then paragliding down. It's a very similar thing you have to kind of resist sometimes in Halo Infinite with the grappling hook. Yeah, you can get to the highest mountain over there and climb to the top of it and see everything around you, but you're going to miss something interesting along the way if that is the only way you play it.
Yeah, I think for me at least, I'm kind of halfway between the two of you in terms of my experience. I've been in the open world for probably about an hour and a half, doing some missions, exploring, unlocking some bases, all that kind of stuff. And the one thing I'll say about those pseudo sort of boss fighty sections, at least the first one I did, you unlock the what it is. It's like the radar thing that you shoot out and it shows the enemies on the map or whatever.
Threat detector.
Threat detector. Yeah, that's the one. I don't like how this controls in the campaign in terms of switching between grenades and equipment.
Yeah.
It's not good.
It's not. It's. They tried to find a solution, but it's a little too cumbersome.
I'm hoping there's a way I can map that to the paddles on my Elite controller so I can do it with that of just cycling through them. Maybe there's some accessibility option where it doesn't require 2 button presses. I just haven't dug into the menus enough to figure out if that's the case. I hope there is. And if there isn't, I hope they're thinking about putting it in.
It is something you could get fluid at, but it's like it's
not great.
It is very cumbersome because you have to hit. So it's like in multiplayer, you hit left on the D-pad to swap your grenades between the only 2 you can carry. In campaign, you can carry 2 grenades of the 4 different types. Of the four different types, and then there's the equipment that you can get and pick up, similar to the ones that you get in multiplayer. And you have to press the right button and then a direction to access them. And when you switch out to the threat detector to try and locate some enemies, and then you immediately press the button to want to grapple away and get really it's one
You'll
thing.
have to hit the D-pad twice to go back to grapple away after using the threat detector.
Yeah,
which is not great in terms of gameplay.
It's a little too useful in that regard.
I understand why they did it the way they did, because they want to make you feel like you're a badass, you're the chief, you're leveling up, you're collecting points to, improve all of your equipment, which I think is really cool. I spent all of my points on the grappling hook thus far and feel like a badass Spider-Man with like friggin' electro webs or some crap like that. It's real good, but there is definitely some weird or non-intuitive design choices, but I don't know how they would have alleviated that other than giving you the option of just, cycling between all of the equipment when you press that thing instead of switching to a specific thing. But again, that's me being a little nitpicky more than anything else. And then the other thing I wanted to mention, based on what you guys were talking about, and I can't remember what it was because it didn't matter probably. Back to Nathan's point about the world feeling a little sparse. I actually felt the opposite. Every time I was like trying to traverse point to point, to AJ's to the point AJ made about the original Halo, is that game felt empty. That game felt like you were going point to point, objective to objective, and that's it. Whereas this, I'll be doing that, but then I'll run into like a supply depot or just a random downed pelican that has a point, like an upgrade point in it with a bunch of enemies just hanging around that wasn't on the map, but it's just kind of there. And it makes the world feel more lived in, at least for me. And I'm really enjoying that aspect of it, but it does hurt my brain a little bit because when I get games like this, I'm like AJ, I'm like, I got to cross everything off this map before I go to the next objective. And it makes it like, oh God, now there's things I don't even know or that aren't on the map that are going to distract me on my way to the next objective. So I feel like I'm going to focus almost primarily on the campaign story portions of this single player and then go back and just play in this sandbox because it's just grappling hook tree to tree like friggin' Spider-Man is dope.
Yeah.
And I feel like as you find more stuff on the map, you're earning valor. And as you're in valor, you're unlocking more guns for your, like at the depots, you can change your loadouts, you can spawn vehicles, you can have like the more Marines that you save, they'll like, if you get in a Warthog, they will get in the Warthog with you and you'll have like a squad, which is cool. Like there's a lot of really interesting design decisions that they made on this that pay off very much.
I took over an entire FOB with a Razorback with 5 other Marines in it, and just drove up and they just took care of everybody, and it was good to go. It was fucking great. It felt good.
It feels like the kind of game where you can kind of you can tackle one problem a million different ways, which is very not what you would expect from a first-person shooter.
Interesting. Okay. That actually gives me a lot of excitement. I have saved some of the Marines already, but like I only have the Mongoose available to me to drive right now.
Yeah.
So they can't come on me with that, correct?
One person could.
One person could? Oh, maybe I should.
Yeah, one person can hop on the back. And for me, I'm going to treat this sandbox as more of a way to experiment with the things I want to get better at doing in multiplayer.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like sniping.
Which is something I've been wanting since that multiplayer dropped, because I am straight dog shit with some of these guns.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I already feel better with the Mangler. So.
Oh yeah, that's the weapon I've been rocking the most.
It's great for those grunts. Single shot headshot.
It's just boom, done.
Boom, done.
Yeah. And you just have to be careful because it does have bullet drop on it, but yeah, it's really good.
It's funny, you guys were talking about how in the single player campaign for this game you can earn skins and whatnot to use in the multiplayer, and I was like, oh man, that's really cool. I feel like you don't have a lot of games that feature that nowadays. And I thought about it, and it's like, I mean, in general, there are not a lot of games that come out nowadays that have like what's the word? I was about to say agnostic, but like completely separate extricated single player and multiplayer campaigns like Halo Infinite does.
I mean, Call of Duty.
Yeah, Call of Duty does these days now with Warzone. Call of Duty definitely fits into that because they've kind of like made one launcher that you kind of launch every Call of Duty from at this point. So,
and they do it at least in the multiplayer of the games. Like if you've done certain things in the single player, reach certain milestones, they'll unlock some stuff for the multiplayer.
Also, fuck Activision.
Yeah, there's that.
Fuck Bobby Kotick.
Yeah.
Sorry, we talked about an Activision game. I felt like I had to say that.
Yeah, it was just the first example that came to
to
mind for me, but I agree with the whole thing.
I feel bad for Raven Software because before they were absorbed into the Call of Duty machine, they made like quirky, weird, fun shooters like that 2010 game, Singularity, which was like pretty basic and straightforward, but like a lot of fun. And
they also made some of the best Marvel games ever made.
Yeah, and they also, even after they were absorbed into the Call of Duty machine, they made some of their more interesting projects in that universe, like that one mode in Call of Duty Ghosts that was neither like the multiplayer suite nor the single player campaign. It was like the one where like you're like fighting aliens or something. In any case, yeah.
I don't think Ghost was aliens. Wasn't Aliens the one with Kit Harington?
Infinite?
Advanced Warfare. The Call of Duty series is weird. Fuck
Infinite
Activision.
Warfare.
Yeah, Infinite Warfare.
Our help goes out to
Infinite
Raven.
There was the
the
Kevin Spacey one, and then there was the Kit Harington one.
Also, fuck Kevin Spacey.
Yeah, there's that too.
Yes.
I actually had an interesting conversation before the podcast that I actually want to bring up here because we were totally derailing from the Halo talk. So Cozy, feel free to chime in on all of this because this is going to kind of be right in your wheelhouse.
Sorry, before we go to the next topic, it was called Extinction Mode.
Okay.
Right.
Yes.
I don't remember. Game Awards are tomorrow.
Yes.
Yeah.
We talked a little bit about what we think might pop up, what we think needs to get shown because it's going to be a big thing for next year. And one that I thought of, which I have to preface with fuck J.K. Rowling, is we have not seen the Hogwarts Legacy game in some time.
Yeah.
Is that one you think they can market at all prior to its release, or is it just kind of going to happen?
No, they'll market it because here's the deal. As much as a lot of people are in the know about Harry Potter, there's still as much Harry Potter merch and stuff as there was before. They'll continue to market it like and ignore what happened. So you'll see a full marketing suite for it.
There is currently a game show on Crave. It comes on before Dexter on Sunday nights. Hogwarts Battle or something like that, where it's just it's a trivia show, like and they just ask like it's
Harry
hosted
Potter
by Helen.
trivia.
Yeah, hosted by Helen Mirren, and the teams are divided into the houses, and the audience gets to weigh in and get the team more points. Like, it's a whole thing. It's actually really interesting. But yeah, fuck J.K. Rowling. But Harry Potter's cool.
It's one of those things where it's really hard to. Sorry, Cozy, I didn't mean to interrupt. It's really hard to separate the art from the artist in a lot of these situations because we grew up with Harry Potter. Well, I didn't grow up with
You
Harry
didn't
Potter.
grow up with Harry Potter. The three of us grew up with Harry Potter.
Yeah, I read it in my early 20s, because that's when the books started to get popular and everybody was reading them, and I did enjoy the world, and I like the movies, and I've rewatched the movies with my kids, and it means something to my kids.
So it means something to a lot of kids.
Yeah.
Speaking of Harry Potter content sneaking up on us, did you guys know that Fantastic Beasts: The Secret of Dumbledore is coming out in April of next year?
No.
I don't even know if I saw the second one of those, to be fair.
I haven't watched one of them.
Me neither.
People were never like super hyped on these Fantastic Beasts movies.
I remember seeing the first one. It was fine, but nothing. I don't know. There was also a lot of buzz on the internet the last couple of weeks over this reunion, the reunion special they're going to do, akin to like the Friends reunion, but for the Harry Potter films.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And Christopher Columbus, the director, not that Christopher, but the director,
the Home Alone director.
Yeah, the one who directed the first three Harry Potter movies, wants to direct a film adaptation of the stage play.
Yeah, I was just say, I thought they were going to be doing the stage play at some point, especially because the
actors are all the right age at this point. Yeah.
Yeah, they've all aged to the right point to do it now.
I don't know. Either way, fuck J.K. Rowling. I was just curious to get your guys' thoughts on the whole Hogwarts Legacy thing. And do you think with all the negative press that the Game Awards got this week about, Activision, the weird flip-flopping over the Activision stuff, fuck Bobby Kotick. Don't fuck Activision, just fuck Bobby Kotick and anyone who supports him. Do you think there's a possibility that this shows up here and gives them even worse PR for this show?
I mean, I think anything's possible. What I think
So-
is, again, I was surprised by how soon Fantastic Beasts, the next one, is coming out. I would think that they'll do something to coincide with that movie to help promote the game. So we won't see it tomorrow night, but we will see it 4-ish months from now in some capacity.
See, here's my thought process. It's a Warner Brothers game. You don't see it till Fandom 2022. And it gets like a fall release or Christmas release.
I feel like that's when they want it over the summer, but I don't know. Anything could happen at this point. Who knows? We'll have to wait and see if that does pop up tomorrow at the Game Awards, or if anything else pops up at the Game Awards that we weren't expecting. We already know we're getting a trailer for Sonic the Hedgehog 2, which that should be interesting.
Yeah.
Also, like Jeff Keighley said that there's 5 Elden Ring sized announcements.
Elden
For the
Ring
Game
wasn't
Awards tomorrow?
announced there. Elden Ring was it was gameplay, right? Or it was just re-revealed there.
I guess re-reveal, but I think he's talking just in scope. Like games in the size of Elden Ring, which could open. Like I think BioShock's a lock to be there. Right?
I would have interpreted what he said as the announcement is the size and as big of a deal as the announcement of Elden Ring. That's what not that the game itself is going to be as big, but the announcement maybe. Like I don't know.
It'll be curious. I'm very curious to see what he does with the event. Also, I'm really hoping that they give people live mics on stage, specifically
Joseph Ferris.
Joseph Ferris.
After the whole thing this week with Take-Two and
Oh
It
my
Takes
god!
Two.
Yeah. Yep.
It should be interesting.
Will on stage will they be like the game formerly known as It Takes Two?
I don't know how they're going to work because it's going to win awards. Like it's got such good press. There's no way it doesn't win stuff. So it'll be interesting to see how they approach that because with how big Take-Two is, they probably don't want to piss them off.
It's true.
Such a silly litigious. Why are the Americans so litigious?
Like everybody pointed out, there was the time that Konami wouldn't let Kojima go to the Game Awards, and Jeff Keighley called them out. So I don't think he'll be canceled, but I will be greatly disappointed, and I think the industry should be disappointed in Jeff Keighley if he doesn't at least acknowledge something. It doesn't have to be as strong or whatever, but just acknowledge something regarding the goings on.
I totally missed this, but earlier today, Jeff Keighley tweeted out tomorrow, this one is fire, with a GIF from the Suicide Squad game. So I think we're getting Suicide Squad gameplay tomorrow, and that would be cool.
Ooh.
That'd be super cool.
Yeah, I'm more excited about Suicide Squad than I am Batman. What's the new Batman? Gotham Knights?
Gotham Knights,
it's just called Gotham Knights. There's no subheading. But I'm more excited about Suicide Squad because I think it's going to be very Borderlands-esque in the playing with the character classes and such.
I hope so.
So, Tiny Tina's Wonderland. Do we see that?
I don't see why not.
Yeah, maybe something.
It seems like that's something that they would pay
something else
because that comes out in February. So it would be right to start pushing the marketing machine now.
And it's got Andy Samberg and Wanda Sykes in it, like voice cast wise.
Have they announced either of them as presenting?
No, they haven't. They really should have got to them. And Will Arnett's in it too, I think.
That sounds right. Yeah. Any final thoughts on Halo? And we can call this one early so we can go back to playing Halo.
To play Halo, yes. We'll keep this one short.
We're getting into more Game Awards speculation. Maybe we'll start do we want to start a little early tomorrow to do some pre-show speculation? Or
I mean, maybe 15 minutes?
Yeah,
30
I'm
minutes,
around,
whatever.
so just let me know. We can get started early. I don't really care.
I can get started at 7:30ish probably. Because it starts at 8, right? Yeah. Now, and is it an hour of pre-show at 8? Is that when the pre-show starts?
That's a good question. I think pre-show looks to be 7:30.
Okay.
because it's showing the hold on, let me go to the GameAwards.com. We should probably have done this research before right now when we're doing this
also
tomorrow, but it's
that's fair.
At 11 o'clock tomorrow, that Matrix thing, the Unreal Engine 5 Matrix thing unlocks. I have it downloaded and ready to go. It's just a currently it's just a both main
PlayStation
consoles.
and Xbox. Okay, I might get that downloaded tonight.
Yeah,
ooh,
it's
then we can compare Johnny Silverhand and Keanu.
Yeah. The right now when you go to launch it, it's just a countdown. So, keep that in mind too. That's going to be interesting.
Before we wrap up our thoughts on Halo Infinite, are there any spoilery thoughts that we want to share? I said that real weird. Are there any spoilery thoughts that we want to share that you want me to put the spoiler graphic up for?
I don't think so.
No, I think we were able. I think we said our piece without having to spoil anything. Actually, unlike what we were thinking we might do.
I'll say if you have any interest in open world, first person Halo, Spider-Maning as Master Chief,
even if you don't, give it a go. It's on Game Pass. You have no excuse if you have Game Pass.
Try it.
Just do it.
Also, wait, I just really got into the multiplayer this week. Can I talk about that quickly?
Yeah, let's talk about the multiplayer. I played a bunch today, so yeah.
I should have played more today, but I ran a bunch of errands before the thing actually went on.
Adulting.
Right?
I popped my first double XP thing yesterday and got a bunch of levels up, so
there you go.
That. I don't love the challenges, though, so I'm going to be honest, because the challenges make me feel like I need to, I've been specifically running around levels looking for specific weapon types.
Yep.
To try and,
I did that today where I needed 5 commando kills, and I friggin' hate the commando, but I got my 5 damn kills.
Yeah. I just feel like they're counteractive to doing the objectives in a lot of ways.
It is. And that's been one of the biggest points of contention with this. If you ignore how stingy they were with giving experience and whatnot, that was one of the biggest complaints, even in the test flights. Hey, listen, this is going to be a problem. This is not going to work the way you hope it will. And they said, "Oh, we believe in the system," and blah blah blah. And then they launched it, and sure enough, it was exactly what everybody was predicting. People going into capture the flag, pretending it's Slayer, and then actually quitting out after they get the 5 kills with the pistol. And then you're stuck with a bot for a little bit, and then a new somebody else comes in, and then you lose the game, which is no good if one of your challenges happens to be, hey, I need to win 17 matches before this whole thing resets for the week, so I can get this cool gift unlock thing, and I never got that one, so SOL there. But
yeah,
I don't think you were missing much. It was just like an emblem or whatever. Right?
Yeah, it was an emblem that I was never going to change.
And this week's is like a sniper rifle color palette, which I also don't care about because I never used a sniper rifle. So
yeah.
It's one of those things where if it were actual Spartan customization, I'd probably be more interested, whether it was helmets or colors, because I think one of the biggest missing parts is cool colors.
There are some cool colors, like the one that I got at level 89.
That also means having to get to level 89.
Yeah,
I'll
exactly.
get there. I'm almost at 50.
Yeah,
I'm at 30. Yeah, I want to say 37.
Yeah, with the changes they've made, it's actually not that difficult.
No,
I made it from 65 to I finished it. So I've made it that far in not too much time. So the one that I got, it's basically all black except an accent of red on the head and an accent of red on one of the shoulders, and I think that looks really, really cool. Actually, something that somebody found out is the color palettes that they give you, right? Yeah. It's got the 6 colors and the thing in the middle.
The center pod, yes.
Right?
Yeah.
So apparently the position of those 6 things are actually meaningless because somebody actually did a test where they had the same piece of armor, and on one section was like red or whatever, and it changed the color, and on another color, the section of it was red, same armor, but it didn't make that piece of armor. So even still, like, there's no way to predict like what is going to be what color when that happens. It's just
So totally
Go ahead.
derailing this conversation
Yep,
because I've gone
go
down
for
the
it.
rabbit hole of researching the Game Awards.
Yep.
Show's gonna be about 3 hours long.
Hell
a
yeah.
3-hour tour.
For the
Who else took
record,
Friday off?
when
Show of
I
hands. Y'all
no
got me
can
some
do on that
tired
regard.
boys at work on Friday. That's
I
all
do
I'm
want to
gonna say.
say, for the record, when I penciled in we're going to do this at 8 p.m., I was thinking, this show will probably be pretty long, even without specifically knowing it would be 3 hours, that we don't need to do like a super long pre-show leading into it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but
Well-
their thing goes live at 7:30, so I don't know if we want to
Right.
be up for that or we'll
Well, that's
figure
what
it out
that's
between
what I'm
now
saying.
and
Like, if we want
24
to,
hours from now.
get in there a little bit early to just catch some of the pre-show stuff and do some last-minute predictions, like that's fine. But we don't need to force ourselves if we're going to be on our asses for 3.
Oh god, no! I
hours.
feel like I'm gonna need to take like multiple breaks of just like I gotta go sit down and not look at a screen because nothing's happening, and then I'll come back and y'all say I missed like a new Pokemon reveal or the Breath
That
of the
would've been
Wild
great.
2 title
Oh,
and
man.
gameplay reveal or some shit like that.
We'll probably say that and it wouldn't have happened either.
Oh, I know.
Yeah.
That's the problem. Is I'll go to Twitter trying to find the stuff, and you guys will be totally bullshitting me.
Wait a
Yep.
second. Okay, Mitch, hear me out.
Shoot.
AEW game announcement
Fuck yeah, let's
or
go.
reveal, right?
That'd be great. Honestly.
I feel like the timing's probably about right.
I mean, they've been working on it for a while. I think they want. I have a feeling they probably want to hold it until after 2K22 comes out. Let that
see
come
how
out,
it hits
continue to be a
different.
dumpster fire, and then say, "Hey, look, we're all new, all different, but back to what you remember," and basically be a modern No Mercy.
Yeah, 100%.
We'll see.
Yeah, options.
Options galore, including options in Halo, options on Game Pass with things like the Artful Escape,
Oh.
and options with what may come to pass tomorrow night at the Game Awards. But I think that will. God damn it, Cozy! It was such a good transition.
Well,
Go.
I did want to conclude our Halo Infinite discussion with what I feel is actually a very pertinent question.
Go ahead.
So, like, something that I've been hearing across people that have been both praiseful and not so praiseful of Halo Infinite's campaign is that you can claim that it's utterly feature complete. There's campaign co-op, which is still coming next year, and we do know that over time, 343 Industries will be adding new content to the open world of Zeta Halo, not to the same extent that they'll be adding new content to, say, the multiplayer suite, but we will continue to get little changes and improvements and trinkets to toy around within it. And so I want to ask you guys, as somebody who's still finishing up Halo 5 and is not necessarily in a rush to play Halo Infinite myself, even though I am looking forward to it and expect that I'll enjoy it, do you think that I gotta hustle to play this as soon as possible, or do you think I can wait?
If you've got a hankering for it, play it. If you don't think you got a hankering for it, wait. No reason to burn yourself out on too much of this series. That's what I was.
Yeah.
When you told us your plan was to play through them all leading up to this, I was a little concerned that you would just be burnt out on this kind of game before getting to Infinite. So, I mean, if you need time away from it, take the time. We'll probably, the year's almost over. We'll maybe bring it up once or twice more, not really get into spoilers or anything like that. And that'll be it.
And then
you're kind of free to do whatever you want.
We'll be able to talk about it again when campaign co-op comes into play, because we will probably want to play a bunch of that together at some point. So,
and see, that's what I'm thinking. Like, I'm looking long term and thinking, should I wait for campaign co-op and play it then alongside some of you guys?
no,
Yeah,
I think
I wouldn't wait. I'd just go.
so.
If you want to play it, play it.
Co-op,
In this game is actually, I can understand now why co-op got pushed.
yeah, co-op in the Halo games is great, in my opinion, as like your second playthrough, because like maybe Halo 5 being the exception because it is such a team focused story. In the Halo games, typically what you end up doing when you play through it a second time with friends is you already know the story, and you're going to end up kind of, just, talking to your friends and having a good time, laughing, whatever, not paying as much attention as you could. And I think the story, at least so far at the very beginning, is good enough that you want to pay attention to it the first run through, just to make sure that you've got it. And then everything else after that, once you finished it, then go nuts, playing it cooperatively.
Also don't know how co-op's going to work in this open world, to be honest. It doesn't really fit the model that Halo's had up until this point. And honestly, the better experience might be playing through it on your own.
It'll be
we don't know until that drops, because it's going to be so different. This single player is already so different from previous Halos that putting campaign co-op into it, 1, could be a buggy nightmare, and 2, could be, less than what people are expecting.
I bet it will be like the bubbles in New Super Mario Bros., where if the person you're co-opted with goes too far away, they'll end up in a bubble and you have to break them out of the bubble.
That's exactly what it's going to be. Yep. A nice hard light shield surrounds them, and you got to bust them out of that.
I mean, until we get to Mario Bubbles and Halo, I think we're just going to have to wait and see until next time when we talk more about this game and all the other stuff that's going on in this great world of, or maybe not so great, depending on who you're asking, world of video games that we talk about every week on this Press YYZ. So thank you once again for tuning in. And if you enjoyed this, please be sure to go over, hit that little subscribe button on the YouTubes, youtube.com/PressYYZ. It means a heck of a lot. Comments and thumbs up there means so much, and it really helps get the word out that this exists, and it really is appreciated. Following on Twitch, it's free, and you can hit that little bell to find out when we do this every week. And when we do other stuff that isn't just the podcast, we all try to have a good time with that. Rating and reviewing on Apple Podcasts. The podcasts like this live and die by word of mouth. And you spreading the good word that is us definitely means a heck of a lot to each and every one of us. And it wouldn't be the same if we did this and none of that stuff did happen, because you are a very important part of the show. So thank you once again for tuning in. Twitter, great place to keep up with us. Twitter.com/PressYYZ, @PressYYZ there. We have Discord. We're on Discord a lot, like an unhealthy amount at invite.gg/PressYYZ.
Today especially.
Every day, but Halo Day especially.
We were in there pacing around while it was downloading, and it was a fucking, oh my god.
The servers held up. We all got it downloaded.
The servers held up.
We had a good time. We're going to continue having a good time. And until next time, thank you for playing.